Hello friends, welcome back to Homegrown Florida. I'm Katrina. Today we're going to do a little bit of a garden tour slash harvest. I went out of town recently to visit my little sister and help her do some home renovation projects. And I came back to my broccoli being a little bit on the overgrown side. So we are going to harvest a bunch of this broccoli. These are actually the side shoots of my broccoli plants. I had already taken off that center head, and now this guy is creating side shoots like crazy. So let's get all these off here. You can see some of these, like this one right here, is getting a little bit away from us. I believe this is my third harvest on just this plant. And as you can see, I am pulling off a lot of broccoli. This is that variety I was telling you about in my last video on winter varieties. And this is that Arcadia broccoli that is just really prolific at side shoots. And side shoots are just like the little florets. So besides the broccoli in this bed, I also have some strawberries, but it doesn't look like there's any ready just yet. And then in that corner back there, I have some celery. That's my shorter celery. I'm going to show you some more in just a second. That's actually much larger. We're going to harvest that together. And I did put some random potato plants in random places in my garden. Over here in this particular bed, I have some more broccoli that we're going to take down. And I took a couple of the cabbages out the other day. These are not headed yet, so we're going to wait on those just a little bit longer. My peas took a little bit of a hit during some of those winter freezes we had, but they are coming back nice and full. So we're going to grab some of those off now too. This is the Oregon Giant, or the Giant Oregon Snow Pea. Very, very good. The snow peas, the actual peas, and the snap peas are all a little bit sparse right here. And that's mainly because I stopped succession planting them. I didn't need to. I could have kept going. They definitely can still continue to grow this time of year. But honestly, I'm just pretty much peed out. I don't need any more. I have probably a gallon size bag in my freezer. So I think I'm good. Now, this bed behind me is the one where we took all that dollar weed out of. So it's pretty bare. I just put some watermelons in and a few beans and a couple other little things. But next up, we're going to harvest from this bed. This has some green onions right here. Then obviously we have lots and lots of carrots. But the one that I am super excited about, and we're just going to take a few off of them right now, is these Brussels sprouts. So Brussels sprouts have been a challenge for me for many years. I think it's 4, and this is the first time that I actually got some sprouts. So I'm going to take a nice sharp knife here, and I'm going to go down to the base of the Brussels sprout. I'm going to cut this guy off here. Look at that! I actually grew Brussels sprouts. The big difference, I think, that this year than last year was I went with a different variety. This is called Jade Cross. I used to do the Long Island improved Brussels sprouts, but I don't think those are as heat tolerant as these Jade Crosses are. We're going to get a few more off here because I can see one of the top ones here bolted. And we're going to want to try to get as many of these off before the whole plant goes. I have a weird situation because Brussels sprouts are supposed to be bigger towards the bottom, and then they get smaller at the top, but mine are kind of doing the reverse. I have really big ones at the top, and my bottom ones are a little bit smaller. I don't know if that's normal. That's okay. Look at this one. Look how big he is. This one is officially my biggest Brussels sprout. That's crazy. That is insane. From going from not being able to grow them at all, the plant dying very young, not growing up very fast, having sprouts that blew out, which basically just means they go from this to this, where they don't form the tight heads, and they just open up. And that's usually because of heat. But to go from that to this is insane. I'm so excited. Now I could take the whole plant off at the base and cut all these off, but I did notice that the ones, like I said, in the bottom are very small. So I'm going to leave this plant to continue to grow, and I'm just going to cut them off as they get big enough. So next up we have our carrot bed, and this is very densely planted, which was my mistake because I probably shouldn't have planted it this thick. That's okay. I've been thinning them. Usually what I do is I wait till the carrots get a little bit bigger, and then I will thin out the ones sitting next to each other, and it gives the other ones a place to grow. And for some reason, with a lot of my carrots, I end up getting very short carrots. They're still completely edible, very yummy. So I want to show you how densely planted these carrots are. Hopefully you can see. But I have one right here, one right here, one right here, one right here, one right here. They're all like right here. And they're just too close. And I should have thinned them while they were younger, but I didn't. So the way that I do it now is I just find ones that are, you know, kind of in the center of a clump. And I'll take that little guy out just to give the other ones more space to grow. Then I leave the rest of these guys in here. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that carrot. That's probably the longest one I've ever grown. Wow. So I'm going to keep thinning and get the rest of the bigger ones out to allow some of the smaller ones to continue to grow. And I have been harvesting from this bed for at least 3 or 4 weeks now, taking up the smaller carrots to give other carrots a chance to get big. Now, the downside of doing it this way is I am pulling up carrots that I should leave in the ground when I pull up, you know, my carrots to thin. I like these white orangish carrots. They're very cool looking. Yeah, see, like with that orange, yellow, white one, I pulled up a couple small ones by accident. Got one right here that looks like it's going to be super big. So let's pull this one up together. So he's pretty fat, but he's pretty short. They're so cute. Carrots to me are like the comedians of the garden world. They're always like strange shapes and they grow funny, and I don't know, they're just comical to me. All right, so that's pretty good for now. I got a mix of pretty big, sizable carrots, so I've got my little tiny baby carrots. So in this next bed, I wanted to show you guys a few things. Number one, I've got some more Brussels sprouts. These were planted, I think, in October, so they're a little bit younger than the ones we just pulled off. I have some mustards that I'm going to go ahead and cut down because I actually don't need any more mustard seeds. Then my pride and joy, my garlic plants. And they are doing tremendous. I'm very happy with their growth. This time last year when I was growing garlic, they were not this tall and thick at the bases here. So I'm thinking that that's like a really good sign that I'm going to get some nice thick garlic. Now I wanted to keep you updated on this because this was all of the seed garlic, and then this line right here was the garlic that I saved from last year's harvest. It's definitely doing good. I mean, you can see that the growth is nice and green. It's tall, not quite as tall as these guys, you can see. The stem is not quite as thick as these guys either, but they are growing. I suspect I'm going to get smaller heads over here, and I'm going to get bigger cloves of garlic over here, which I'm perfectly fine with. The idea of being able to keep and create my own seed garlic is very appealing to me instead of having to buy it. So I'm really looking forward to this little experiment to see how these guys do in the end. So next up in this bed, I have some cabbages, some more potatoes there through the whole garden. I had such a hard time with potatoes. I have a red mustard that is flowering so that I can save the seed. And then I have a bunch of broccolis and kohlrabis. These broccolis right here are just now forming their main heads. The other ones are mostly side shoots. Next bed, I have some very young carrots. You can see here, they're way too early, I think, to pick. But I'm going to kind of poke around and see. They're actually producing little roots, which is great. And these I spaced correctly. So I have a lot of hope for these guys. I also have, if you see right here, I have some of my peppers that I overwintered. I have some tomatoes that were from cuttings. They're still in their pots. I'm not completely trusting that we are out of our that we're out of our frost period just yet. So I haven't put them in the beds, but I've kind of placed them here just to kind of get used to their spot. We have some more Tokyo Becana. We have some more lettuce, some more broccoli. I don't know how much broccoli I thought we would need, but apparently it was a lot. Oh, we got a kohlrabi. Come on. Almost missed this guy. Look at him. That beautiful, perfect round shape. We have another one right next to it. He's still a little small, so I'm going to leave him, but we're going to take this guy. Good, baseball size. My husband's really gotten into these lately. He's a huge broccoli fan, so I try to grow lots of broccoli for him. But I kind of got him into kohlrabi, and he really, really loves these guys now. So definitely have to be growing more of these. All right, the next bed I'm very, very excited about here. This is the lettuce bed, and I just harvested a bunch of lettuce, so it's looking a little sparse right now. But the one that I'm really excited about is all that celery. I never really been successful growing celery before, but this year was my year, and I was really focused on it along with the Brussels sprouts. Those were like some of my goals for the year, and or for the season. And so I really focused on it. And I think the big deal with celery is started early. I mean, earlier than you think. I started this one in August. And here it is, March. And this is as big as it's gotten. I also think that shade has been a really good thing for this plant. Now I have some over there that are not in shade and they haven't bolted yet. So I think that's I think I'm testing it out in both places, but these have gotten bigger in the shade, which is odd, I guess, because maybe it's cooler and it's a cool weather plant. I'm not very familiar with how to harvest celery. I know that you can take it off at the bottom, but I want it to keep growing since it hasn't bolted yet. But I also don't want to miss my opportunity to harvest it. So I'm going to do like a cut and come again and hope that that works. I have tried it. It's salty. I don't even know. It tastes just like celery from the grocery store, but it has like a salty taste to it, which was very odd for me. I'm assuming it has to do with, Florida's salt water. We hold a lot of salt in our soil because of the ocean. So I'm guessing that's what it is, but I like it. I kind of like that salty taste. I don't know if it's supposed to be salty. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off the outer ones just like I would for a cut and come again lettuce. And I'm just going to leave the center. They're definitely not as thick of a rib as the ones in the grocery store, but I mean, I still think they're pretty good. The taste wise is really amazing. They have so much flavor, and I feel like grocery store celery doesn't really have much flavor. It just kind of tastes like water. These guys actually have a taste. So now we got all those thinned down super thin. You saw how bushy they were before, and we're going to let those grow back. So we're just going to take a peek through here and see if there's anything we need. We have some kale, some Tokyo Becana. Oh, we have some borage. Check out those pretty blue flowers of the borage. This was just a practice run for me to see if I could grow it. I'm going to grow more in the beds, but I like to take the flowers off and I save them for teas. Same with the leaves. All right, so the rest of the green stalks have lots of different kinds of herbs. I mean, I also have some Swiss chard, but we are Swiss chard out, so I'm just going to let that keep growing. But we have some lemon balm, some lemon mint, some parsley, some oregano, some dill, some peppermint, spearmint, red vein sorrel, pineapple sage, which is amazing. Actually, you know what? We're going to get some pineapple sage. Peachy is starting to green up, and she has a crazy amount of flowers. And you can even see where more buds have formed and have not bloomed just yet. So you can see all along this branch right here, she's got little buds that haven't bloomed yet. So as long as pollination goes very well for me, this is definitely going to be Peachy's best year. That big prune we did really has invigorated her, and she is pushing out all kinds of flowers. I am going to have to thin them, so I will bring you along for that, because if all of that pollinates, you know, it's just not good for her to have that much fruit. But I am not going to thin it down as much as I have in the previous 3 years. I'm going to let her fruit, and I'm just going to make sure that there's a good distance, about 6 inches from each piece of fruit, so that she doesn't get too heavy. But thank you guys so much for watching today. I'm going to get this harvest inside and get it all processed. I'll see you next time.